With the exception of one game, week 1 is officially in the books. It was a crazy weekend that saw a lot of upsets and some thrilling finishes. Every week this season, I'm going to be dropping my top 25 list. Unfortunately, I don't have a ballot for the AP poll, but this is the next best thing. So here are my top 25 teams in the country after week 1 of the college football season. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, but odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'll be posting college football videos every day all season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. I actually have a change at number 1 as I'm putting Georgia there. They had the best win of the weekend and dominated what was supposed to be a top 11 team in Oregon. The Bulldogs dominated on both sides of the ball and really looked like the team we saw last year. Georgia's coming off a national championship and they looked like the best team in the nation. So, until further notice, they deserve to be ranked number 1 in my opinion. At number 2 is where I have Alabama, who had a very impressive 55-0 victory over Utah State. This is a Utah State team that won 11 games last year, so the fact that Alabama beat them by 55 is remarkable. Bryce Young threw for 200 yards with 5 passing touchdowns while also rushing for 100 yards with a rushing score. Same old for Alabama, as this was quite the way to start the season. I'm already looking forward to seeing what they do to Texas next week. Number 3 is where Ohio State is, as they were on upset watch through 3 quarters. Notre Dame gave them quite the battle, but the Buckeyes came through in the end with an 11-point victory. The Buckeyes defense was the standout as they held the Irish offense in check. Notre Dame finished the game with only 12 first downs and only 250 yards of total offense. This defense looked like one of the best in the entire country as well. Although the offense looks sluggish, I think they'll be just fine. At the time of this recording, Clemson has yet to play, so I'll keep them at number 4. Hopefully they don't blow it tonight against Georgia Tech. Number 5 is Michigan, who dominated Colorado State, defeating them 51-7. Cade McNamara got the start, as J.J. McCarthy will get the start next week. McNamara completed 9 of 18 passes for 150 yards and a score. 4 different players for the Wolverines had a rushing touchdown as they totaled 235 rushing yards for the game. Another solid start to the season for Michigan, who might win by 60 points next week against Hawaii. Number 6 is where I have Oklahoma. Brent Venables made his head coaching debut with the 45-13 victory over UTEP. Dylan Gabriel made his Oklahoma debut, throwing for under 250 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. He also rushed in a touchdown as well. The Sooners rushed for 260 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns. With a brand new looking team, things didn't even skip a beat for Oklahoma. Up next at number 7 is Texas A&M, who defeated Sam Houston 31-0. Haynes King had a solid debut, throwing for 350 yards with 3 passing touchdowns, though he did have 2 interceptions. The Aggies defense held the Bearcats to under 200 yards with only 10 first downs. At first, I was pretty underwhelmed by this performance, but I recently learned that Sam Houston is actually a powerhouse at the FCS level, so this was a very formidable opponent that A&M wiped the floor with. Number 8 is where Baylor comes in after their beatdown of Albany. It was a very nice game for the Bears as they finished the game with 69 points. Blake Shapen threw for over 200 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. He also rushed in a touchdown as well. For the game, Baylor rushed for 260 yards and had a total of 7 rushing touchdowns. 6 different players rushed one in, with Richard Reese leading the way with 2 rushing touchdowns. Number 9 is where Notre Dame falls, as I thought they played really well against Ohio State. Like I mentioned earlier, they had the Buckeyes on the ropes until the 4th quarter. Their defense did a great job in shutting down this high-powered offense. The problem, though, was Notre Dame's offense, as they couldn't get anything going all night. Tyler Buckner completed only 10 passes and threw for 180 yards. The rushing game did nothing as well, as they averaged only 2.5 yards a carry. Still, it was a very respectable showing, and I think they still deserve to be inside the top 10. USC cracks the top 10 after their huge win over Rice. The Trojans put up 66 points, largely thanks to not 1, not 2, but 3 pick sixes. The new look offense was fantastic in their debut. Caleb Williams had only 3 incompletions while throwing for 250 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. He also led the team with 70 rushing yards. Jordan Addison caught 5 passes for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns in his debut. Again, I get that it was only Rice, but I thought USC was impressive when I wouldn't have been shocked if they struggled and won by only 10 points or so. After their win over Cincinnati, I have Arkansas jumping up to number 11. It was one of the best wins of the entire weekend, and the Razorbacks impressed on both sides of the ball. KJ Jefferson was excellent as he totaled nearly 300 yards with 4 total touchdowns. The Bearcats hung around all game and did impress me, but Arkansas's defense stood up to make the key stops when needed. After their thrilling win over Utah, I got Florida jumping inside the top 25 and going all the way up to number 12. Is this an overreaction? Most likely, but the Gators really looked like a solid team on Saturday. Anthony Richardson was excellent as he totaled nearly 300 yards with 3 rushing touchdowns. This looked like an entirely different team under Billy Napier, and I'm interested to see if they can take the next leap and truly become a contender in the SEC. Michigan State checks in at number 13 after their 22-point win over Western Michigan. Peyton Thorne had 4 passing touchdowns with 230 passing yards on only 12 completions. Jalen Berger rushed for 120 yards with the score. Things were a little close in the third quarter as the Spartans only led by 8 points, but they scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to put the game away. Oklahoma State comes in at number 14 after they dropped 58 points in their first game, but things got a little close in the fourth quarter as they defeated Central Michigan by only 14 points. The Cowboys led by 30 in the fourth quarter, so this one was pretty out of reach early on though. Spencer Sanders was fantastic as he threw for over 400 yards with 4 passing touchdowns, while adding 60 yards and 2 scores on the ground. It's a little bit concerning for the defense considering they allowed Central Michigan to score 44 points. This was a team that prided themselves on defense last season, so we'll see if they're able to turn things around. Miami is who I have at number 15 after their thrilling victory over Bethune-Cookman. Tyler Van Dyke had only 3 incompletions as he threw for 200 yards with 2 touchdowns. As a team, the Hurricanes rushed for over 300 yards while averaging more than 7 yards a carry. They had 7 rushing touchdowns, led by Henry Paris Jr., who had 3. Is the U back? We'll have to wait and see. First, I gotta figure out where the hell Bethune-Cookman is located. Number 16 is where I have Utah falling. A pretty steep fall considering they were only 1 play away from winning the game, but they blew so many chances in this one. This is a game they honestly should have won. I still think Utah is a good team and they very well could finish the season 11-1. They'll be back inside the top 10 at some point this year, but maybe they were ranked a tad bit too high to begin the season. Number 17 is Pittsburgh, who won a thrilling game last week over West Virginia in the first backyard brawl in over a decade. The game lived up to the hype thanks to a thrilling fourth quarter. Keaton Slovis threw for 300 yards with a touchdown in his Pittsburgh debut as he led a very impressive game-tying drive late in the fourth quarter. I know Pittsburgh lost a lot of talent during the offseason after winning the ACC, but I expect this team to be right in the hunt all season. Although they won, I have NC State falling to number 18. Had it not been for ECU's kicker, they would have lost. He missed a potential game-tying PAT with a few minutes left and missed the game-winning field goal as time expired. I thought the Wolfpack were very underwhelming considering I picked them to win the ACC. Devin Leary completed only half of his passes and threw 1 touchdown with an interception. NC State had 2 costly turnovers late in the game, 4 times the amount of penalties as ECU, and allowed more yards. They were gifted a win and are lucky to be 1-0. Wisconsin is number 19, and they had a pretty boring 38-0 victory over Illinois State. Braylon Allen led the way with 150 rushing yards and 2 scores. Overall, nothing else to really see here. The Badgers took care of business. Props to them for holding the Redbirds scoreless. After a thrilling 3-overtime win over UTSA, I have Houston coming in at number 20. The Cougars are a team to keep an eye on among group of 5 teams this year. UTSA isn't a joke as they were a damn good team last year. This was a fun back and forth battle that saw Houston overcome a 2-touchdown deficit in the fourth quarter. Clayton Tune threw for 300 yards with 3 touchdowns while also leading the team with 50 rushing yards and a score. Keep an eye on the Houston Cougars this season to make a deep run. Kentucky comes in at number 21. They struggled in the first half as they led Miami, Ohio by only 3, but they turned things around in the second half, outscoring them by 21 points. Will Levis threw for over 300 yards with 3 passing touchdowns. Kentucky's going to be an interesting team to follow in the SEC this season. They're a team who I think takes a step back, but who really knows? Maybe they're able to hang around in the conference hunt. Penn State comes in at number 22 after their exciting comeback victory against Purdue. Sean Clifford led a game-winning drive late in the fourth quarter to cap off his excellent game. He threw for just under 300 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. This was a game that either team could have won, but Penn State came out with the victory. This has been a very hot and cold team over the last few years, so I don't know what exactly we can expect from the Nittany Lions in 2022. But after this win, maybe it's going to be a great season for Penn State. Ole Miss underwhelmed against Troy, but I still have them at number 23. They defeated them by 18, but I was expecting a bit more from this new look offense in week 1. They had 3 turnovers, all of which came in the second half. Jackson Dart only threw for 150 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Zach Evans rushed for 130 yards in his team debut. The Rebels defense held Troy to only 60 rushing yards on 33 attempts, so it was an impressive showing from them. Ole Miss is a team I'm really high on this season, so hopefully their offense gets it going soon. BYU is at number 24 after their dominating win over South Florida. They defeated the Bulls by 30 points after dropping 38 points in the first half. Jaron Hall had 25 completions for 260 yards and 2 scores. Christopher Brooks and Puka Nacua led the rushing attack with over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 16 carries. BYU is going to be a fun team to keep an eye on this season as they have one of the more difficult schedules in the entire country. They could play spoiler to multiple teams in 2022. Florida State is 2-0. Jared Verse said they're back. What the hell, let's end this list with the Seminoles at number 25. They had a thrilling win last night over LSU, escaping with a 1-point victory. Florida State very well could lose the next 10 games. They might underwhelm, but right now, they're 2-0, and this might be the only time all season I can rank them inside the top 25. So, why not? Well, that wraps it up for my top 25 after week 1 of the college football season. Was there a team you thought I had ranked too high or ranked too low, or a team that wasn't even ranked inside the top 25? Whatever your thoughts are on the list, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, then this is definitely the place for you. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm posting videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe if you're a college football fan. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.